Welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Miles Davis, and my co-host, Chris Branch. This is the daily 10-minute podcast where we take out all of the techie talk around generative AI and focus on what the everyday person, content creator, and marketer wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one subject. And today we're going to talk about something that we love talking about, love watching, love playing when we were younger. And that's football, or soccer if you're listening to it from America. And the reason we're going to talk about this is because the inevitable happened and is happening. And that is AI getting involved in the tactical side of the game we love. And what we mean by that is Google's DeepMind has teamed up with Liverpool Football Club, and they've essentially developed a prototype AI football tactician that that predicts what's going to happen. And at the moment, it's focusing on corner kicks, and I think they're calling it Tactic AI, but it's going to start with corners. But again, if they're getting it correct, if Liverpool all of a sudden start scoring a lot more from corners, you can see it focusing on all different parts of football and then going into sports. So it'll probably start looking at like the dead ball situations, like throw-ons, free kicks, penalties, corners, and then it will start getting involved in live play. So, Chris, before I get into a bit more detail, what's your thoughts on this piece of tech?
Not at all surprising. And when you've got Virgil van Dijk in the box, maybe that's the corner reason, like they've got the most deadly weapon to aim for. And so knowing all possible outcomes for corners, the best way he can make runs and all of those things could be such a game changer in the Premier League, especially because it's so competitive and the defense is so much better than other leagues that when your your centre back comes up for a corner kick, you want to make sure it's going to reach him. And if AI can help you get those insights, like why on earth wouldn't you be using it? As we said in the green room, before this one, it's not at all surprising at all that it's football. As you said, soccer, because of the money involved, like one corner kick in the Champions League could be the difference between earning 25 million and not earning 25 million. So there's a lot of money on the line if AI can help. And also there's lots and lots of data already from like footballers because they are required to wear these chest things now, which monitors heart rate. And this is ever since there's been, Ericsson and others have experienced some issues with heart conditions and they collapse on the field. So they're doing it for the safety of the players. But the byproduct of this is, how many meters they run, exactly where on the pitch they've been, every other bit of data that could be fed to an AI in order to predict outcomes.
Do you feel that we're going to use too much technology in football? And
it could be totally overkill. It could be, in fact, that's what will happen is everyone will use it because someone used it successfully. Then it will swing back the other way where people are starting to use it less and be more successful because they're not relying on the data so much. And these trends happen everywhere in life. Like society works this way. Unfortunately, we swing too far one way and then we swing back too far the other way. And there's very, very little time in the middle.
Yeah, it's like I just hear all these. Obviously, data is important, but I just hear all these new data and stats, and I'm just like GA is a thing at the moment. I'm like, why? Or the prediction, can't remember what it's called, but the predictability of taking a shot, and I'm like, or scoring a goal, and I'm just thinking, are they adding all of these stats more for YouTubers to talk about? Because I just feel that it's like it kind of you look at certain players and they become stat merchants. It's almost like saying, oh, I've got to do this because of the stats. Because this is the problem once you start bringing in data. It's you ran this much, or you touched the ball this many times in the opposition box, or you done this many dribbles. And then all of a sudden their bonuses are attached to it. So they're playing for stats and data rather than to win the game. And this is one of the things that I concerns me about all of this technology getting involved in sport. Now, if you look at this when it comes to corners, I can see why they would do it from an attacking point of view and defending, and this is where it's going to go. And if we place the ball here and then we can kick there, or if we, you see it a lot on corners. They raise one hand, which is some form of sign to do this set piece or that set piece. And I like all of that, but I just feel that with all of this data, I don't know, maybe I'm old school in my way of thinking, but I'm just like, and I like the idea of incorporating it. I just feel that, as you mentioned, we're going to go way too much, and it's just going to be a data game rather than a game of just.
But then when that happens, it will become a hindrance, because imagine that you could predict if a player was going to shoot based on them knowing the outcome of it going in. They're not going to take that 35-yard shot, are they? When everyone is encouraging them not to. The AI, their coach, themselves. There's 3 ways of talking yourself out of taking a long shot and potentially getting a deflection that goes in, right? So imagine that you knew that a team wouldn't do that. You'd be at an advantage because you'd defend differently, wouldn't you? So
but you would know, just generally, because again, you're dealing with world class. Like, when I say world class, I'm talking like these. If you're playing, let's say, in the Premier League, you've gone through millions of people who wanted your job, so they know what they're doing. If someone's from 35 yards, they know that they're more likely not going to shoot. They don't need data to say that. And also, data won't be able to tell them that while they're on the pitch, So you kind of will just go with common sense, or
totally.
If you're the person and you might see, 35 yards, they think I'm not going to shoot because data's told them, I might just do the element of surprise and take a shot, and you never know. I've seen goals going from 35 yards plenty of times. In fact, just go to YouTube and you'll see loads of compilations for that. So I think as I said, if you start not being spontaneous, you'll end up just playing for data.
Yeah.
And that's where the game changes drastically.
And if you start like totting up all of the things that are variables in the football game, I'm imagining that diet and a good sleep before the game is far more of a bigger impact than AI analysis, So, maybe you had an argument with your wife the night before, and that's you not thinking properly during the game. That's going to affect the outcome much more than AI analysis too.
But you'll have AIs that could tell that. I'm sure you'll be in a situation where you're going to have technology where you can just tell by the person's heartbeat that they're stressed or they're this, or whatever it may be, and then that's the reason why you're not playing today. We're not gonna put you on the bench. So we're gonna put you on the bench rather than start because your heart rate is this. Because that's already kind of happening when it comes to.
But I think at that point it will be seen as discrimination. Because there's not anybody's fault that they had an argument with their wife and that they came in stressed. No one could help that. Nothing can be done. And that information shouldn't be used against them in their professional field. But going back to something you said earlier, like, think how guilty marketing and brands are with getting the wrong, deliverables. Like, I'll give you a typical example here. And I don't want to go too technical or geeky, but in the SEO days of marketing, brands used to say, we want 10 link placements. That's the thing we want from you every month. Instead of high domains or good quality, it's no, we want 10 links. That was the wrong thing to be measuring. And therefore, they are never going to get to the true potential of where they could have got because they were going for the wrong things. And if the agency didn't deliver 10 links, they get rid of that agency. Even though they may have delivered one link that was more powerful than the 10 that they'd actually asked for. So
you're losing sight on the end goal,
exactly.
And that's where it becomes, like I said, an issue. And data works. And the reason why I said about YouTubers, but really I'm talking about media, is because they've got something to talk about. It's like they can bring in data and then they can, just like us, if we wanted to, we can just, this could all be about data and football. Like if we wanted to every day, we could talk about it because there's enough information out there. But that's not the goal. So that's where I can see it being a problem. But just very, very quickly, what you're going to see when it comes to AI in sports and different things, there's going to be different ways AI is going to incorporate it in sports or football, from crowd engagement to what you eat nutritionally to how fit you are to tactics on the game. But AI will never replace that motivational speech that you get at halftime that Rafa Benitez must have said to the Liverpool players against AC Milan in, I think it was 2005 Champions League final at halftime, or what Alex Ferguson has said many times when you talk about the hairdryer treatment, or some tactical genius that Pep or Klopp has said. And I don't see AI ever replacing that. They could write the speech, but having it delivered by that, I can't see it happening yet. I think I'm going to have to say yet with everything, because you never know. Some of the things that the improvements in AI has been outstanding in such a short space of time.
I say this because we've made an episode on this, and just before you do the in a nutshell for this one, remember when we talked about AI generated clips of golf? Well, I think that will have a much bigger outcome than AI prediction in sport. Like, that's going to change a lot more of what we do in terms of the way we look at sport, in terms of how many clips we get suggested, in terms of our social algorithm and the way we get suggested this stuff. AI will make a much bigger difference there than actually in the outcome of the game itself.
Yeah. And in a nutshell, tech can predict many things, from tactical insights to strategic analysis of the game. But what it can't do, and that is consistently, is predict what actually is going to happen in a live environment, especially the final result. Because if it could, everyone will be multi-millionaires and the gambling organizations will be completely stripped out.
Yeah.